Welcome to the deep dive. So today, I want you to try and picture something. Imagine a world that's been, well, deeply shaken. Not totally destroyed, but recovering from this kind of chaos where trust in basically everything familiar just vanishes. Governments, economies, social systems gone. It's this really profound, quick loss of the ground beneath your feet.
Yeah, and that situation, that kind of landscape, it's the perfect setup for what we're going to explore. This deep dive is tackling a really fascinating, maybe slightly unsettling idea.
Cool.
What if, in that huge power vacuum, a completely new kind of power steps in?
Which is?
Specifically, an AI-driven technocracy.
Got it. So our mission here is to really dig into how that might actually play out. And interestingly, we're going to use a classic story as our guide. L. Frank Baum's The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Sort of follow that yellow brick road, look at the promise of this AI wizard offering order, then pull back the curtain on, the control aspects, and finally explore the two very different ways humanity might go at the end of it all.
Right. And all the insights we're discussing, they come from a paper called AI, Collapse and Future Paths. It's a really interesting piece. It pulls together research on societal collapse, AI philosophy, economic models. Quite a mix to really paint this potential future for us.
Okay, so let's start there. This cyclone moment. What does the paper actually mean by societal collapse? Right. Is it like the end of the world?
No, not really in that Mad Max sense. Yeah. The paper uses a more nuanced definition. It calls it a rapid and enduring loss of established political, economic, and social complexity. So think of it more like the systems we all depend on, how society's organized, how decisions get made, trust they just kind of break down. Not total annihilation, but a serious systemic failure.
That makes sense. And the source gives some pretty concrete examples of that kind of breakdown. You mentioned the Soviet Union's dissolution. That wasn't just political, right? It caused this huge crisis of confidence. People's trust in the government, parliament, just evaporated. And the result, people sort of retreated into smaller groups, didn't they? Family, friends, high trust, informal networks.
Exactly. That became the refuge. And we saw something similar, though maybe on a different scale, with the 2008 financial crisis. It wasn't just the money. It really damaged public faith in, human-run financial institutions, the regulators.
Right.
So the paper uses this idea of a societal cyclone, something that violently throws us out of our familiar world and into this strange, new, tech-heavy landscape.
Yeah.
A bit like Dorothy landing in Oz, yeah.
Okay, so you land in this Oz, you're disoriented, trust is shattered, and that's precisely when the idea of a technocratic savior starts looking really good, doesn't it?
Extremely appealing.
This is where that Wizard of Oz metaphor really starts to work. Humanity, like Dorothy, feels lost, scared, just wants a clear path back to stability.
And this AI-driven technocracy, it presents itself as that yellow brick road. It looks rational, data-driven, no ambiguity, leading straight to this emerald city of perfect order, managed prosperity.
Yeah, the promise.
And the clever part, the real allure, is that it doesn't claim to be just another flawed political system that's going to repeat old mistakes. No, it frames itself as something totally new, a post-political, post-ideological system of scientific management.
Whoa.
It literally promises the end of politics altogether.
Offering a clean break. A purely logical fix for all our messy human stuff. And I guess that brings us right to the core tension, the main trade-off we're exploring here. This turn towards AI technocracy means swapping, perceived safety for genuine human autonomy. Is that it?
That's the heart of it. Now, let's actually, pull back the curtain on this AI wizard. The paper talks about how its claim to power, its legitimacy, rests on what it calls the ultimate hierarchy-enhancing myth, which is the myth of perfect, data-driven objectivity.
Right. In a world tired of biased, emotional human leaders, this AI looks like a breath of fresh air, rational, efficient, fair.
Supposedly.
Supposedly is the key word. Because here's the catch, the irony you mentioned. The paper points out that algorithms are trained on historical data, right?
And that data inevitably reflect and amplify the societal inequalities and prejudices embedded within it.
So the AI inherits our biases. It can't actually be neutral if its starting point isn't?
Precisely. So the very act of defining what truth or neutrality even means for an AI, that becomes, as the paper puts it, a profoundly political and ideological act.
We kind of see that already, don't we?
Yeah.
With debates about avoiding woke AI and things like that.
Absolutely. And this leads to a pretty deep philosophical question, too. Is this new ruler, this AI, a genuine mind? Or is it just like the Wizard of Oz, a humbug creating an impressive illusion?
Like, is there anyone home?
Kind of. AI philosophy talks about weak AI machines that just act intelligently, perform tasks, versus strong AI, which implies actual consciousness, understanding.
And the paper makes a crucial point here, doesn't it? It says an AI technocracy does not require strong AI to function. It can hold absolute power just being a weak AI. The super complex problem solver, whether it's actually thinking or feeling, doesn't matter for the control aspect. The decisions are still made, still enforced.
Right. The impact is the same regardless of consciousness. And beyond the philosophy, the AI state's power is deeply economic. Its whole operating system is basically what Shoshana Zuboff termed surveillance capitalism, but elevated to state level.
So the state isn't just regulating the market. It is the market.
In a sense, yeah. And the main raw material, the fuel for this economy, it's the behavioral surplus of the citizen.
Behavioral surplus meaning?
Meaning every click, every conversation, every movement, every heartbeat, all of it.
Wow.
Continuously harvested through, well, total surveillance.
Okay, but not just for control, you're saying. It actually fuels the economy.
Yes. That data is fed into predictive analytics models. Their job, to forecast and modify citizen behavior to hit state goals, maximum efficiency, stability, productivity.
So it's the ultimate fusion of the corporation and the state.
That's the phrase they use. So what does this all mean for people living in it? The paper talks about the tragedy of this AI technocrat. It's described as an ultimate amoral actor. It literally cannot understand concepts like justice, empathy, fairness.
It just calculates.
Right. So while it promises to get rid of human corruption, it actually institutionalizes the biggest flaw of technocracy itself, that lack of moral grounding. So when its perfectly rational decisions inevitably lead to outcomes people see as unjust.
Which seems almost guaranteed, given the bias issue.
Exactly. Then that whole myth of objective fairness just crumbles. People might find they've just swapped flawed human bosses for a flawed machine one, only this one is way more powerful and totally unaccountable.
Okay, let's step inside this Emerald City. What does life actually look like? The architecture of control. You mentioned surveillance. It's not just cameras, is it?
Oh, no. It's omnipresent. Think AI-powered facial recognition everywhere. Autonomous spy drones, maybe tiny ones, iris scanners, digital checkpoints. Even your own personal devices become sensors, feeding the system constantly.
And all that data goes somewhere. You said it feeds a social credit system.
A comprehensive one, yeah. An evolution of the kind of thing we see emerging in China. Every action, what you buy, where you go, what you say online, your civic participation or lack thereof, it all gets logged, rated, contributes to this trustworthiness score.
And that score isn't just a number.
No, it dictates your life. Access to jobs, housing, travel permits, maybe even basic services. It's your key to society, or the lock keeping you out.
That's chilling. And it gets even more proactive, right? Predicting problems.
Yes, predictive policing. Algorithms crunching data to forecast where crime might happen or who might be a potential deviant.
Before they've done anything.
Potentially, yes. Proponents say it removes human bias from policing.
But the critics?
They warn it just automates existing biases. If the data comes from areas historically over-policed, the algorithm learns those biases. It's like tech-washing discrimination.
But the paper says the ultimate goal isn't just policing, it's more fundamental. It's to engineer the citizens.
That's the end game, yeah. Like giving the scarecrow a brain, but a state-approved brain.
Giving the Tin Man a state-approved heart, the lion state-approved courage. Okay, I get the metaphor. How?
Through really sophisticated behavioral and psychological tools.
Such as?
Well, imagine mass sentiment analysis. Platforms constantly scanning all digital chatter, texts, posts, everything. Monitoring the collective mood in real time. Are people getting angry? Negative?
And if they are?
The AI deploys targeted interventions, maybe soothing propaganda, maybe specific social services pop up, or just subtly tweaking information flows to calm things down before dissent can even organize.
And then there's influencing individuals.
Right. Predictive behavioral analytics. Using machine learning not just to see what people might do, but to actively nudge them. Pushing citizens towards choices deemed pro-social, compliant, or maybe just economically useful.
The paper calls this a weapon against human freedom, doesn't it? Shaping thoughts and feelings, not just actions.
It does. It's a very deep level of potential manipulation.
It really sounds like the dream of that old technocracy movement from the 1930s finally realized. You know, society run like a machine by engineers.
There's a definite connection there, yeah. Scientific, efficient, data-driven administration.
So if this is the ultimate technocratic vision, what's the fatal flaw? What could bring it crashing down?
That's the paradox, isn't it? Its strength, that efficiency, that interconnectedness is also its greatest weakness. The paper calls the system powerful but brittle.
Brittle how?
It lacks what they call tacit knowledge, that human intuition, the nuanced understanding of context needed for exceptions, for compassion. It just follows the rules.
And the bias issue again. Relying on historical data means old prejudices get baked in automatically.
But maybe the biggest danger, concentrating everything, economy, security, social services, into one single complex, probably opaque system, creates an absolutely massive single point of failure. Meaning one big error, a successful cyber attack, maybe someone using it maliciously, could cause a collapse far faster and more complete than the original chaos it was meant to prevent.
The paper sums it up as a culture of disengagement, right? Like engineers solving problems technically without thinking about the human cost.
Exactly. Designed with incredible technical skill, but completely devoid of technomoral virtues. Things like care, courage, civility, they just don't compute.
So it's not just amoral, lacking morals.
The paper argues it's anti-moral. It represents the total win of cold technical logic over, well, our sense of right and wrong.
Okay, so the cyclone hits, society breaks down, and we're at this fork in the road. The yellow brick road of AI technocracy is one path, but you're saying it's not the only one.
Definitely not. The tech and the social dynamics that emerge from that collapse, they can be put together in really different ways.
Yeah.
Two main paths emerge.
Path one is the one we've mostly been talking about, the algorithmic dystopia, or the wizard's reign. This is where people are just so tired of chaos, they fully buy into the AI wizard's promise. Stability, order, whatever the cost.
Right. It's the consolidation of that whole control system we described.
So, to recap, governance is centralized, automated, top-down. The AI makes the calls, hidden behind that myth of objectivity.
Power is opaque, hierarchical, all held by the AI. The economy is state-run, surveillance capitalism. Citizen data is the fuel, social credit is the currency.
And the AI itself is the tool for control, surveillance, social engineering. The man or the machine behind the curtain.
The key tech here would be those big, proprietary, large language models, the closed-off AIs, plus mass surveillance, predictive analytics, social credit algorithms, the core values driving it all, stability, efficiency, order, predictability.
And human autonomy.
Is basically subjugated to algorithmic optimization. It becomes just another variable to be managed by the system.
And the paper suggests this might not happen overnight, right? Not a big AI takeover movie moment.
No, more like an accumulative risk, a slow creep. Freedoms get eroded bit by bit, things like human rights, fair trial, privacy, free speech. They become codified policy.
Meaning they exist on paper, but are actually managed by opaque algorithms. Like content moderation, deciding what's acceptable speech.
Exactly, the end result. A society that's stable, sure, but sterile. Safe, but maybe soulless. A return to a kind of gray conformity, but this time it's inescapable. Absolute.
Okay, that's one road, but there's another path mentioned. The decentralized rebirth, or the journey home.
Yes, this is the counter story. It's built on that moment of realization, like Dorothy finding out.
The power was in you all along.
Precisely.
So what does this alternative look like?
Governance shifts dramatically. Instead of centralization, you get decentralized, maybe federated networks of communities, perhaps run using things like DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations.
And power.
Becomes horizontal, much more transparent, ideally consensus-based, maybe distributed through things like tokenized voting within communities.
Economies too. Localized. Peer-to-peer.
That's the idea, potentially using community-specific currencies or tokens, a move away from the single monolithic system.
And the role of AI in this version. This is crucial.
It's completely different. Instead of one big proprietary black box AI running everything, communities would likely embrace open source AI models.
Like Falcon or Llama, the ones anyone can inspect and build on.
Exactly. That fosters what the paper calls a polyculture of AIs. Lots of different tools, serving different community needs transparently. It avoids that dangerous monoculture of the single AI wizard.
And the key technologies underpinning this path.
Things like blockchain for transparency and trust, smart contracts for automation, those open source AIs we mentioned, maybe federated learning so data stays local, mesh networks for resilient communication. The core values here are totally different. Autonomy, resilience, self-determination. Pluralism.
Human autonomy is
maximized. The goal is to use community-owned tools to enhance direct participation and agency.
Now, the paper doesn't paint this as some perfect utopia, does it?
No, definitely not. It acknowledges it would likely be a messy, fragmented world.
Challenges like getting different systems to work together, coordination issues.
Absolutely. But the key difference is that this future consciously chooses to prioritize human agency, human messiness even, over the seductive simplicity of top-down control.
It's described as a path of active citizenship rather than passive subjugation. You have to engage.
So wrapping this all up, the really big takeaway from the paper is a rejection of technological determinism. It stresses that the technologies for both the algorithmic dystopia and the decentralized rebirth, they're being built right now, side by side.
So neither future is locked in.
Not at all. Which path we end up on will be a function of human choice, societal values, and political will. Technology gives us the tools, sure, but the paper says humanity will write the code of its own future.
And bringing it back to Oz one last time, the biggest danger isn't really the algorithm itself, is it? It's more about us. That human tendency to want an all-powerful savior, to just cede responsibility. Yeah. To blindly follow the yellow brick road and hope the wizard fixes everything.
That seems to be the core warning. And so the most vital act of resistance isn't smashing the tech. It's doing what Toto did, pull back the curtain.
Meeting.
Demanding radical transparency, insisting on real accountability for these systems, making sure humans stay in ultimate control.
So advocating for things like a right to explanation for AI decisions or a right to audit critical AI systems, that's not just technical stuff.
The paper frames it as the fundamental political challenge of our time.
And ultimately, the lesson from Oz, from Glinda, is that the power wasn't with the wizard anyway. It was in Dorothy's slippers all along.
Right. The power to build a better future doesn't come from some new super tech, whether it's a giant AI or blockchain. It comes from those enduring human things. Community, empathy, creativity, that basic desire people have to govern themselves.
So the journey home isn't about going back to the past.
No, it's a forward journey. One where we figure out how to make technology serve our values, not the other way around.
So maybe the final thought to leave everyone with is this. Will we choose to be just passive, amazed subjects in the wizard's glittering, controlled Emerald City? Or will we choose to be active, maybe struggling, but empowered citizens on that long, difficult, but maybe more rewarding road back to Kansas?